I have been reading Hazrat Sahab's comments or what he said in answer to some questions or objections and so on from a collection called Malfuzat. Today what I want to read are some things he said, but also some things that he actually did, which reflect the verses of the Holy Quran that I recited to you. About treatment of women, Hazrat Sahab said, apart from obscenity, all other irritations, etc. of women should be tolerated by men. It seems dishonorable to me that a man should beat a woman. God has created us as a man, and one way of thanking Him for that is to treat women with gentleness and kindness. And then he was told at some other instance that one of the members of the Jamaat was very short-tempered with his wife. And Hazrat Sahab says about himself, one time I spoke to my wife in a loud voice, and although I did not use any hurtful or bitter sentence, just because I spoke to her in a loud voice, I felt ashamed, and after that I sought God's forgiveness and help for a long time in prayers and in nafals, and I even gave something in charity to expiate for my mistake. Again, at another time, his son, Mir Mahmud Ahmad, was playing with matches, and he burnt the draft of a book that Hazrat Sahab was writing and had spent months on it. And when Hazrat Sahab saw that, he said, "Oh well, there must be something that God has willed in this. I guess it is that I should write a better text or a better book than I had authored, which got burnt down." Similarly, Hazrat Mirza Sahib drafted something, and as was his habit, he gave it to Hazrat Maulana Nuruddin Sahib Rahmatullah Alayh for checking and comment and so on. And Hazrat Maulana lost it, and he felt very embarrassed, and he spent ages looking for it. And when Hazrat Sahib discovered this, he went to Maulana Nuruddin and he said, "I have come to apologize to you for the effort that you have had to spend in trying to look for my article that you lost. My belief is that certainly Allah will grant me understanding to write something even better. So you shouldn't worry about it." At one time, Hazrat Sahab was very ill. He suffered from migraine. And as I also suffer from migraine, I know how painful that is. And he was trying to lie down, and there were children playing and their mothers telling them off, and there was a lot of noise and so on. And Maulana Abdul Kareem of Sialkot, he said to Hazrat Sahib, "Would it not be better if they were quiet? Perhaps you will relax more." And Hazrat Sahib said, "Yes, you are right." And Maulana Abdul Kareem then said, "Why don't you tell them off?" And Hazrat Masih Maud said, "Well, I can't tell them off if you can gently request them not to make such noise because I'm unwell, then I will be grateful. At another time, someone was caught stealing from his house, one of the servants, and she was caught and people grabbed hold of her and they were telling her off and humiliating her in public and so on. And Hazrat Sahib heard of this, and he went to where they were holding this girl, and he said, "She is poor. Do not humiliate and admonish her in this way in public. Give her some. She must have had a need that forced her to steal." And at another time, as some of you would know, that Hazrat Sahib was also a Hakim, which is like a local doctor, and he used to dispense medication for people. And he spent a long time looking at these people and giving them medication and so on. And one of the members of the Jamaat said, "This is a lot of trouble for you. It takes up too much of your valuable time." And Hazrat Sahib replied, "This is also work of religion. These people are poor and helpless. We do not have a hospital in this area. It is only for this purpose and these people that I buy all kinds of English and Greek medicines and medication which prove useful when they come to me. This is something for which there is great reward. And I tell you that a true believer should not hesitate, and he should not be lazy in those things that alleviate the pain of humanity." And the last one was whether children should be struck. We recently have had laws that beating children is not allowed and so on and so forth, and there has been a great debate going on about this. Hazrat Sahib says, as far as I'm concerned, to beat children is akin to associating yourself with God. And as far as I'm concerned, such a person thinks that in guidance and improving someone in Hadayat and Rububiyat, that person is a part of Godhead. In fact, such a person, when he is angry, takes the form of their enemy, not their benefactor. And sometimes, because of his anger, he exceeds the limit of the punishment that he wants to dispense. It is true that a person has the right that at an appropriate time, to some degree, he might punish a child, but not the kind of person who takes the stick and starts to beat them. In fact, the time and effort they spend in hitting children, I wish that they would spend the same amount of time and effort in praying for them from their hearts. For it is said that the parents' prayer in favor of their children is especially found acceptable by God. And this is why every day I say some special prayers for children. And then he says 5 prayers every day. One of them is for himself, that God may entrust those tasks to him which show his glory and grandeur. Secondly, he prays for members of his household, which is a verse of the Holy Quran, that grant us the coolness of our eyes in our wives and our children, and also that they may do the bidding of Allah's will. Then I pray for my children that they may become servants of this religion. And then by name I pray for each one of my friends. And then at the end I pray for everyone who belongs to this Jamaat, whether I know him or I don't know him, or I know his name or I don't know his name. So I thought this will tie up with the verses of the Quran that I recited, and this is why Hazrat Sahib was successful in creating a Jamaat when people made great sacrifices, because before he asked others to do something, he did that himself.